work the same way with the interviews. When we give a feedback to someone, we have to give data. I can't tell, okay, I'm talking about someone that I give feedback. I think you are not, for instance, hardworking enough, or you don't have this sense of ownership. If I say this, I have to give data. I have to say that, okay, I've seen you here and here and here, this project, I think you didn't manage good. Or when I say positive things as well, the same applies. So I say, you are really good. I cannot say this. I can say, I think you did really great with this project. It was going smoothly. It was delivered on time, and everything is happy with the result. And these are data, so you can go with this. With promotions as well. With promotions, you don't get promoted because someone likes you. It's always some document describing what outstanding items from your background in Amazon happened, what you managed, what project you did, what improvement you had to your service, and then every data you collect, every project you managed, or anything else you did in the company, they will be in this document. And everyone that will be deciding on your promotion, they will go through this. And even if they do further assessment, they will have to provide data for whatever comment they put there. And again, with project and idea elicitation, it will be still with data. So for instance, if you want to prioritize one project over the other, it will be probably about how much value each project will create, how much time we have for each one, and that's how it's going to work. And of course, this data-driven decisions is applied to anything in Amazon. So there are a lot of things that I didn't mention, and this goes as the examples I gave. So next item I want to talk about is mistakes. So mistakes are made a lot, and Amazon is no exception. During my tenure here, we also had a lot of issues, and some of them more catastrophic than the others. However, we also have failure tolerance. We need to also talk about this. Failure tolerance is when you design your service, when you decide on capacity, when anything else, we are actually taking care of the main issues. So for instance, for Poly, we have this AZ down scenario, which means that we have 3 regions, we have 3 availability zones in each region, and we always have capacity in the catastrophic case when entire AZ is down on AWS. So which means that we have more or less like 30% extra capacity on top of another maybe 10 or another extra capacity, which means that we already have this tolerance. We have capacity, or we also have tolerance with other stuff. So with latency, with other stuff, and usually mistakes happen on top of this. So this actually eliminates a lot of issues, but we still have some mistakes. It could be some change, it could be something entirely different, it could be some dependency, doesn't matter. Every time a mistake happens, we take care of that through a process known as correction of errors. But before that, I also want to point out that there is no blame culture in Amazon. If you do mistake, nobody blames you. The only thing we do is actually creating more processes that will make sure that this issue will not happen again. And we also call this shameless failures. We promote this. We talk about our failures. We don't hide it. We have organization level meetings, and we always talk about whatever failure happened. And this actually helps with other teams to not do the same mistakes again. And that's the whole idea of correction of errors. So with correction errors, this is a document that we prepare and share within the company and the organization, or maybe also on the team, depends on the radius of impact. And we first determine radius of impact. Let's say a catastrophic issue happened, service was down for maybe 1 minute, maybe 1,000 requests failed, and sometimes even like when 8 requests fails, we still do correction of errors. If there is a mistake that we address, when we say it's a mistake that needs to be fixed, and it also caused customer impact, then this is a candidate for correction of errors. It doesn't matter if it's like 1 minute of downtime, or if just 5 requests failed, it's still a mistake. There is a customer impact, and for Amazon, customer is the first and foremost, so we cannot just turn a blind eye to that. So once we have impact radius, we also collect data, and then there is investigation into root causes. So this is actually when some issue happens, it's not really immediately obvious what caused that issue. And to come up with what happened, what was the core idea of that, we have this process called 5 whys. We have 5 questions starting from why did customers were not able to access the Poly between this and this time. And then it will move up to more detailed questions until you end up, because there's like 5 questions, but every question goes with more downside questions, like hierarchical, and until it reaches a question where it says, we didn't have this alarming, or we didn't have this protection in our service, or we didn't have this piece of code, we didn't have this something. When it ends up with an answer like this, then you add an action item here, and this action items is list of fixes you have. Usually for every COE, we have maybe 5 to 10, sometimes 15. It depends really about what kind of error happened. We have a lot of action items, and these action items will be included in our sprints, and usually there is 2 months limit to solve all these issues after the COE. And this is how we actually handle mistakes. We never blame. We professionally approach the problem. We investigate it. We point to root causes, and then we create action items and solve it. So next thing I want to talk about is actually feedback systems. I don't know, Omar, if you have any questions, please go ahead. Or if I'm going fast.
About the shameless failures and no blame culture, as I know from you, you say that in the Amazon, people don't hesitate about to request help if they need, and in fact, it shows a very good culture, because if you show you need help, and if you request some help, then it shows you care much about you care the duties, the responsibility more than your personal ego. So I think it shows a very good culture, and it shows the team spirit of the company. And thank you very much. And I think you can continue with the feedback part. Then,
sure.
if our attendees can ask a question, then they are welcome. They can write, or they can raise their hand. They are welcome. Okay, you can continue. If they want, then they can interrupt you.
Okay, cool. So let me continue with the feedback mechanisms we have. So first, I want to start with daily connections polls. These are popping up questions every day. They are being asked to everyone, and everyone responds to that. These are very simple questions like, are you happy with your office? Are you happy? Do you think you are very efficient? Do you think you are being interrupted a lot? Or what are you interrupted for? Do you think you are learning a lot? Or do you think you're happy with your job? But every type of questions. These are like very simple questions, and this data is always collected. And managers actually collect this data weekly basis, monthly basis, and they actually have meetings with the team members. Like for instance, if job satisfaction is very low in the team.
Let me ask one question. You say they ask you the interrupt, and in fact, when they ask you the interrupt, that they can make some interrupt about that, about your job. What about that? Do they really ask so much?
Every day there will be one question, so it's not like a lot of questions. So when you start your day, there is this pop-up. It will be asking some random question, and you will say, my job satisfaction, I kind of feel fine. Or you can say, they can ask you, Do you think a lot of, are you happy with your manager? Even this question is being asked. And you can say you are free. You can say, and these answers are anonymous, so manager will not see who said what. And you can say, I'm not happy. I'm not very happy. So you can quote this, or you can say, I'm very happy. My manager is perfect. Or every type of questions to be asked. So you are free to answer, and this data will be going to upper manager as well. So any data for your manager, because questions will be, of course, not all of them about manager, but the ones that are being about manager, they will actually go to upper manager. So the results are public to some of them to team, some of them to upper manager. But regardless, this data is being collected and it's anonymous, and this really helps about improving some of the stuff. So okay, so like I said, it's not like one specific topic; it could be anything. Next thing I want to talk about is one-to-one meetings with managers and other SDs. We actually have weekly one-to-one meetings with managers. So honestly, I have this experience from my old company, and we really had this maybe once a few months, and even like twice a year. And this is actually too long time to remember about the stuff, what happened, what's going wrong. And in Amazon, managers track you very, very closely. They will collect data about you on a weekly basis. I had one-on-one yesterday with my manager, and my manager was talking about what I did the same week, what he was happy about, what he was giving me like as a feedback. He was like, telling me, you can actually improve on this, and this was very good. Thank you for this, and all the details. And on the other hand, I can also give feedback to my manager. So this is like one-on-one. There is no direction for this. It goes both ways. And the same thing I can also set up with other SDs. Usually we do with the senior engineers, but I can also set it up with other SDs. And and even outside team, maybe not even about technical stuff, about more motivation and like that. I actually have my own one-on-ones with people outside the team, and this actually helps me. I mean, we're actually exchanging ideas about how to get motivated, how to improve yourself, and how to diving into new things. And this is actually a cool thing. And this is in Amazon culture, so you always have this. And this actually gives you timely feedback. I mean, I would not really remember what you did this week 2 months from now, right? I cannot give you feedback about that. Maybe I was really happy about something you did. Maybe I was really worried about something you did. But 6 months from now, I will not remember anything. So this is good that this is actually weekly. And yeah, this is really helpful. The next thing is Forte feedbacks. Forte is a process. This is actually a yearly one. So we have this every 6 months and every year, sorry. And we actually have some goals. And this could be anything, some technical goals, some behavioral goals, like leadership principles. And we actually present and we ask feedback from different people. Your manager is mandatory. So manager will be giving you feedback by default, and you will be giving feedback to your manager by default. But you can also ask for other team members, your friends, and even people outside the team, anyone in the company that you work with for feedback. And they will be giving you feedback in 2 core areas. One is growth areas. We never call you are bad in this. We say you have a space to grow in certain areas. And I think you can achieve this doing by this. And you also mentioned the strength, like you are really good at this. I'm really impressed, and keep up the good work. And of course, there are a lot of personal goals. You also set up your goals, and it goes both ways. And then you end up with your report about what your manager thinks about you, what you think about other people, and what you think about yourself. That's also important because it's also part of feedback. And at the end, you can read this report, and it really provides you some certain insight on what way to go, and understand what certain aspects of you people are happy with, and some growth areas you actually need to focus on. And the last thing is promotions. We already talked about this, but I'm going to talk about well-defined expectations. So if you want to get promoted on the next level, there are actually certain things expected from you, and these are very clear. there's a document, you go there, they tell you like this, and this is expected from you. So for instance, if you are like want to promote to a senior STE, they will say you should have full control over your whole code base. You should be really interacting with other teams. You should be able to understand organizational level code. Like you should be able to like what works with what, and you also be able to very interactive with other people. You should be leading some of the stuff within this organization. And then and of course, there are like some other things that I did not mention. Everything is clear in the document. It shows you what it looks like to be senior SDE. And if you can actually provide that, then probably you will be promoted. And that's also data driven. Like when I said when you say you have impact on organizational level code or the projects, you have this impact on your team. Then there will be project examples like I work on this, and this, and this. This is the thing you're going to prepare. And I work on this, on this, on this. I have the impact on the organization level, and I have a lot of connection with other people while working. I improve my service base, service code base. And then based on this data, you'll get promoted. So it's never about what your manager thinks about you or senior manager. Your manager will never say, I don't like this guy, I'm not going to promote this, or I like this guy very much, so I'm going to promote him. He cannot do that. He has to use data. And that's very clear in Amazon.
They are trying to be objective, but we may have already have some experience where people behave so much subjective, and it is very interesting and admirable, and it is very good because to have such objective criteria is really good.
One thing I want to mention here is, of course, these are like ideals, and at the end of the day, these are still human beings. So some of the people might still try to force their way in with this, some personal things, but eventually it will be very limited, the impact. So like what I'm trying to say is, even if someone is like trying hard not to promote you, if everyone else sees the data, because there's a data, it's not like I'm trying to find someone that likes me, because usually this document is sent to someone that doesn't know anyone. So there will be like some people working on these documents. They have experience with this. They're actually reading a lot of promotion documents, promo docs, and they will be deciding on that. So let's say someone doesn't like you, let's say in your team, but this random person somewhere else, he will read about your document. He doesn't even know you, and he will see this and like, this is very, 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 very good. This guy is working very, very good project, and he actually achieved on doing really good impact. So once this is the case, I mean, it doesn't really matter if someone is using some emotions, because there will be some meetings with these people as well. They'll say, why do you think that? And the guy will say, okay, I have data. This guy has really proven himself. And then there is little space left for emotion. So like I said, there is still some margin for that. But at the end of the day, I would say, more or less, I would say it's a fair environment. So last thing I want to talk about is actually the Amazon culture, and why it's important, and from my perspective, how I feel about them. So the first thing is day one culture. In Amazon, this is a motto. Every day is day one of Amazon. Like the first day Amazon started as a startup. And this is the way this is like a way of thinking. When you start something, it's not like, I have a corporation, they are very slow and stuff. You should be really working and thinking like a startup, with an idea, with a project, with everything. And I would say this actually works to some extent, especially in a company as big as Amazon. This is actually one of the reasons they are so successful. And Amazon is one of the two companies, $1 trillion companies. One is Apple, and the other is Amazon. And they are growing really, really fast. They are already almost 30 years old company. And it's so impressive that they are still growing such a fast pace. They are always extending to different countries. A few years ago, Amazon started to Amazon Turkey, And this year they start Amazon Poland, and they're actually moving to a lot of places. And on top of that, they have a lot of different services. Like AWS is everywhere. Like around maybe 40% of internet right now is on AWS, which is very, very big achievement. And there are also other products like Kindle, like Amazon Video, and like I really cannot count. There are a lot of also companies bought by Amazon. But at the end of the day, company grows really fast, and this is the way they achieve that. When you are too big, you have to find really good principles to move on with. So second one is leadership principles. Leadership principles are, again, way of thinking and important aspects that you really need to keep in mind. And this is very important, especially if you are going to get into an interview. I would say it's almost 50-50% in an interview. We first assess a candidate on technical aspects and also leadership principles. So for instance, if I'm assessing you for bias for action, I will be asking some questions for you to collect some data. So if you cannot really give me good reasons, good data, good examples about if you have bias for action, then that will be a minus for you. And it's as a minus as when you cannot solve a question for algorithm, for instance. So it's actually important, and we really want to have these with candidates. So if you lack them, you have slim chance of getting into Amazon. So you can go through them, read through them. They are everywhere. They describe what they are, but I actually want to talk about a few of them. Not because they are more important than the others, but more, I would say, these are things that really have impact on my life. And it's like all of them have impact, but from my perspective, they have more immediate impact. So something you should always keep a wide eye open, like keep really close and be careful. One is customer obsession. This is one of the basic. That's why it's number one item in leadership principles. Amazon is customer obsessed company. The only important thing is customer. So if customer is happy, that's all that matters. And this is why actually when you buy something from Amazon, it's really easy to return it. If you have a problem, you call them and they help you. And I actually heard a lot of cases from Turkey. People were kind of surprised that Amazon would, without question, take things back. And this is happening with a lot of things. And from a developer perspective, what it means is you should really be careful not to have an impact on customer. This is the most important thing. So that's why when you do design, when you do a fix, when you mitigate a problem, this should be the most important thing. Not to keep your code tidy, not to keep your schedule for work regular or anything else. You should be focusing on this. This is an important thing to keep in mind. Second thing is ownership. We own everything. We own the service code. We own the maintenance. We own our fleet, the servers, the all other components, and we need to keep an eye on that. We own the projects. If I own a project, I have to keep an eye on that. I have to make sure that this is being delivered. I have to make sure that this is on track. This is going right. And this doesn't mean that I have to do everything. The important thing here is, so for instance, if I own a task or a project or anything, if I see that this is actually lagging, this is not going as fast as I would hope it would, and then I would have to involve other people. I will need to talk to my manager. I was like, look, this project was estimated to be, let's say, 1 week or 1 sprint or 1 month, doesn't matter in this case. I was like, look, I have data and I see that this is going to lag. And I want to talk to you, like, we need to take care of this. We either take more resources, like, get more people involved in this project, or we talk to whoever is stakeholder here, talk to these people if it's possible to postpone the deadline. And this is very important because you never want to tell this the last day. This is no, definitely. It's not like, okay, this is last day. It's not going to work out. Sorry. this is an owner. So this counter to ownership. This means that you have very weak sense of ownership. And the other is bias for action. So like I said, mistakes happen, and mistakes usually happen with issues that could be caught early on. And this where bias for action comes in. You need to be with this keen eye and see an issue, feel it, that this part of code doesn't look safe. This might cause some issues in future. So I think I'm gonna take an action, or that I'm gonna fix this part. Or maybe this process is not good enough. So this gonna waste a lot of time of the team. So let's fix that. That's also bias for action. And that's why I feel it's have immediate impact on you. And the last thing I would say, maybe also very, very important, as important as maybe ownership, is deliver results. One thing I was very, very surprised in Amazon, especially after working in my last company, was we do deliver things. And in my experience was there was a project, was lagging, it was going on and on and on. And nothing was, I mean, things were delivered, but it was like a chaos, you know, a mess. Like something was delivered, maybe half delivered. There was no description for anything. In Amazon, it's very important. We always deliver. And one way or the other, like I said, the processes are keeping track of everything very good. These leadership principles helps us to do that. And the way people think in the Amazon, it really helps with that. And at the end of the day, when there is deadline, the products get delivered. And if the time is not enough or capacity are not enough, this would have been talked already months before that or weeks before that. So it rarely happens that something is not delivered on the last day. And when this happens, this is actually bad. This is bad that, for instance, for me, if I'm managing that I did something very wrong. Like I didn't warn someone in time. I was late in that, and this is a big issue. So in this case, deliver results is also good aspect for every engineer, every employee in Amazon. And this actually concludes our my slides. So thank you for listening. So if you have questions, please go ahead. Omar, maybe you'll have some questions.
Yeah. It is better for our audience to ask the question. Do you have any questions to our guest Fatih, our speaker Fatih? Okay. As a kick-off question, in fact, we can you can keep the last slide. I think
Sure.
You know, the most interesting one, day one and leadership. Every day is day one of Amazon. Yeah. And okay. Yeah. Okay. I just want to say that some of these features are the classical ones, but as I see, Amazon is care very much about the leadership. And we can understand their culture from their they make people to share their problem and give feedback about their work, their process. If there is a problem, okay, wait, just okay. I will take your question, Maria. I just finished my question. As I see, leadership is so much important, but you know, do you really balance your leadership and team player skills? Because as I see from in our working life, or sometimes even the volunteering life, some people want to be just a team player. Some people won't just be a leader. You know, when they become a part of that team, they want to become the leader. But it needs to take some process. I think one should balance both being a team player and being a leader. And how as an Amazon engineer, or when you consider the other your other working mates, how do you balance this issue Amazon give you feedback or some other educational service, because as I see, people, as the time pass, people become more and more ambitious. And in Amazon culture, how can you find how can you find such a team spirit? Okay.
So thank you for the question, Omar. So I could first mention that I think sometimes leadership part is misunderstood. It's not about leading people, it's about leading what you do well. So if you are an engineer, it's actually leading, because you are actually leader in every aspect. Even if you are just engineer, if you are working on your work, like it could be subscript, you are actually leader of your time, you are leader of your skills,
Life,
you are leader
main
of
character of your
everything.
life,
Yeah,
your responsibility.
yeah, this is actually, these principles are the things that will help you to do whatever you are doing the best. And so for instance, if you have bias for action, it will improve your delivery quality, it will improve on you, this give this sense of thinking about how things work, how something might cause an issue in future. Or ownership will give you very good sense of owning something and delivering things in time, and actually also creating connections. So for instance, with ownership, this is something really pushed me honestly to certain limits. So when I own something, I am expected to solve problems. So if there's a blocker, I will need to find a way. So this way could be talk to another team. This way could be stopping someone in the kitchen. Just okay, Miha, what do you think? Can you give me like important about data for this? Or can I ask someone else like, I don't know about this project, this product, this tool. Can you give me some documentation? I want to read about that. Or I can like talk to some random people. Yesterday I was talking to someone in Boston about a project they manage, because I thought this project will really help about my project. They look similar, they have different problem base. And this is the way I reach out to this person, because I own this project. I have to find solutions, and I have to focus on that. And this is actually pushing me to do whatever I'm doing much better, because I could also like sit in my corner, do some Google research, do some internal search, try to find something. Probably it will be very limited to reach the information, because not all information is on wikis or internet or in Google, right? So the most important data usually is on people's mind, because they have experience. Experience is really important. You want to talk to that experience. And that's why, for instance, ownership will push you to do what you do best. I am not a leader, I'm not a manager here. But if I follow this actually makes me to do the best. So for instance, earn trust, I'm just like speaking something random. So if I do everything good, well, if I proven myself that, because for earn trust, your team should trust you. You should be delivering things in time, or in really good quality, or you should be helping people quite good, and then you earn trust, right? So when you are capable of earning trust in your team, which means that you are really good at what you are doing. And this is some kind of like personal motivation points that, okay, I'm gonna earn trust in my team. How? I'm gonna be very good at what I'm doing. You don't have to be manager, you don't have to be team leader, you don't have to be senior engineer. You could be even like intern, you can still earn trust. You can be intern and invent and simplify. You can be intern, you can be having really good ownership. And this is actually things that are gonna help you to promote as well.
Summarize it with maybe three words: respect, trust, and experience. I think this help you about the balance. And let me ask you the Maria Elsova's question. Does Amazon work with universities?
They do have some branches, especially research branches. For instance, we have this in our organization. We also have text-to-speech research, and maybe a little bit related to that, there is like natural language understanding teams. And these teams, of course, have their own research teams. I also had the chance to work with Kendra, which is internal, which is search service on AWS. So basically, it helps you to build your own internal Google for your corporation. And they actually have a big team of research because in computer science, search is a big problem, and it's a big base problem base, and there are a lot of solutions out there. Google is just one solution, and Kendra is another solution, and they actually have a lot of research. So if you find a team like this, probably they are also working with universities, because the best places to get researchers is universities, obviously. So they will be working with them. Maybe there will be like some professors working with them. So if you could reach out to some people like that, well, of course you can work with them. But honestly, I have limited information about this, but I know that it happens. But I have limited information because I am not a scientist or researcher in my company. I'm doing software development. But I do know that it happens. So you need to do some research, maybe reach out to some people that are involved with this, and then I think you will find some answers.
Research part, Amazon research part, then there may be they may create some positions, some research position, and in fact those positions are created for the university industry collaboration, as I see.
Yeah, I think there are even like some job postings about this. Like, even if you would like to join an interview, maybe it will be possible to even like follow your studies at the same time, part-time work at the company. There are internship programs as well, so you can be an intern in the research department, and then at the same time do your PhD or master degree or whatever you want to work in. And Amazon also actually supports studying while you are working, so you could also do this. Like I said, everything depends more or less on the details you're going to sign. So if you are accepted into company, you can still talk about terms. You can also say, you can tell them like, I really want to work for Amazon, but I also want to work with my university. So is it okay if I work 3 days in Amazon and 2 days in my university? Well, if you can convince them, which happens actually, so it's not like something that doesn't happen, and of course you can do that. So, or you can even like do some joint research, like without working for Amazon, but get involved with their project. So that's also possible. So important thing here is, Maria, what university you are working on and what type of things Amazon is working with this university. And you can do some research. Probably it will be on, I don't know, university pages as well. But like I said, it really depends on research. So if you are a researcher, I think it will be reasonably easy for you to do so.
Another question.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. In fact, I think it was a very good webinar, because it gives you lots of insight about the life about Amazon. People generally focus on the interview part, and people try to catch such positions, such opportunities, but they also try to see behind of the mountains, or behind of the door. They want to see the life, the working life, the culture. So I think it was a really valuable webinar, and thank you very much for this great webinar. And it is very good to see such criteria, such a culture where people try to behave each other in respect manner, and try to become objective. And I think with such a working culture, people can focus on their duties, their responsibilities better, because they feel people trust them, and they try to provide trust to the other teammates and their managers, and which make the team stronger and stronger. And this shows one of the fundamentals of why Amazon grows larger and larger in the recent years. Yeah,
That's true.
thank you. Yeah. Do you want to summarize or say just a few words, last a few words, because as I see there are some guys uh, who are young professionals. In fact, at the beginning of young profession, you know that in young profession we are considering the first 15 years of the professional life, and as I see, there are some guys who are about the first year of their professional life. So, what do you want to say them about their career and about Amazon?
I think in this webinar, I really wanted to give a perspective about how Amazon works. What is the inside of the Amazon? It's not like, you can go on some job posting, read about it, what are the requirements, and you can apply to that. Maybe your interview will be good or not. I really want to give an insight about how Amazon works inside, and I think this is really important in the way Amazon is so successful. So when you eliminate all the toxic environment, all the toxic relationships in the company, people will focus on their work. People will be try to productive, because it is in my best interest to be productive. When I'm productive, I will do my work better. I will improve in my career. I will learn more stuff. I will maybe get promotion. So this is in my best interest, as long as the company doesn't give me some toxic environment. And I'm not telling that there is no toxic environment in Amazon as well. Like I said, it's still made up of humans, and humans do mistakes. Some of them have some problems, could be quite psychological, could be anything else. So you will hear here and there that there are some teams that are like, overworking or doing something else. The manager is very unfriendly, toxic, anything else. But this happens everywhere. But the good thing about what I would talk about Amazon is there are these principles, there is this culture, there is this feedback mechanisms and everything else that helps to eliminate this or reduce it to minimum level. So what I want to recommend to new graduates or people starting their career right now is they need to understand what is a toxic environment. And these processes, this culture exists in a lot of companies. It's not only Amazon. There are a lot of big companies have similar processes, similar principles, things that make them run efficiently and without making people sad, whoever working there, the employees. So once you have an understanding of toxic environment, what you have an understanding of what is the great environment to work in, I think you will be also capable of understanding whatever job you get. It doesn't have to be Amazon, it doesn't have to be Google, it doesn't have to be any big company, it could be very small startup. It will help you understand if this startup is bad for you, or if this company or corporation, whatever it is, it's good for you or bad for you. For instance, if you get into company, you see that the environment is very toxic, it's not really allowing you to improve yourself or even like be peaceful, because being peaceful in mind is very important. I mean, you could do work a lot, you could be very good in your job, but if there is no peace of mind, I think maybe it's not worth it. So maybe you should do double thinking about that. And that's what I try to give. It's not only about Amazon, but it's more about people here understanding what happens in companies like Amazon, specifically in this case, since I was working in Amazon, I was giving an example from Amazon. But these are things to keep in mind when you choose a job or when you decide if a company is for you or not.
Thank you very much for your final words, your valuable advices. And as you say that there are some other big companies, then you may follow them. And I think working in a good environment is very beneficial. It is not about money. It is not about anything else. It is about your mental health, because you are human and you need to, in fact, we all try to catch the happiness. We are always seeking for the happiness, and sometimes we deviate from our exact goal, and sometimes because of the toxic cultures of some institutes or companies, people deviate from their main goal. And I think working in a good environment, which is not toxic, in a good environment where people trust each other and show respect, then it may be beneficial for not only about the economic side, but also your mental health, or I think it will be beneficial for from many sides. In fact, Fatih have already talked about that. And Fatih, if you want, then you can share your email. Then people can connect you if they have question.
So let me
You can write it to the chat.
Yeah, I'm just writing here. So if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to send me an email on my personal email address, and I will be happy to answer any further questions.
Okay. Yeah. ftjurt@gmail.com. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for this great webinar.
It was a great opportunity for me to talk here, and if I could eventually help up with anyone here, it's my pleasure to do so. So thank you.
Yeah, it is our pleasure to host you in such a great webinar. Thank you very much, Fatih.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Have a nice weekend for our audience. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, we can okay.
Right.
Okay.